Hey, what's up everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so Patty Mills has been traded from the Houston Rockets to the OKC Thunder along with draft compensation. Freeing up $6.8 million of cap space there for the Houston Rockets. I don't really understand exactly all of the different nuances of the collective bargaining agreement changes, but it seems like certain things are being done differently in the name of acquiring players that you have no intentions of playing with the intentions of trading them. We've seen this with Chris Paul to Washington. I think the same thing's probably happening here with Patty Mills going to Houston, from Houston to OKC. It's just one of those things where they never have any intentions of keeping these players, but they're just maneuvering things on the cap so that they can create room for other things they want to do. So I'm expecting another move, which was reported by Woj as well, that this is going to be a part of a bigger three-team deal or something of that nature with the Brooklyn Nets, OKC Thunder, and of course the Houston Rockets. So that's really what it is. They, instead of sending Patty to Houston, Brooklyn sends Patty to Thunder. And I'm pretty sure the Thunder are going to probably play him for a half a season or something like that. They move on from him. Poor Cason Wallace. I don't know how much playing time he's supposed to be getting in his career going forward with that team. And they know for a fact that they love him too much to let him go. So they're just holding him hostage up there, and I just free Cason Wallace, free rookie Cason Wallace, who was drafted into a situation where there'd probably be very little playing time for him in his development. So, yeah, and other players on that team as well who are also in that situation. I think it's time for the Thunder to maybe start picking a couple of them guys on that team, trading them for 2 second-round picks, just like that's the trend we were talking about in the previous video. Yeah, the Thunder need to do that. They need to shave off some of those players. Probably in more responsible ways. I was joking when I said that, but that seems to be what the trend is. So it may be what you see, but yeah, I do think that, and that's the news there. So Patty Mills is jumping around, and he'll probably land somewhere eventually. He's probably gonna get bought out. That's my thing. If he's making like $16 million this upcoming year or something like that, teams aren't gonna want that. $6 million, I don't know, whatever it is, they're gonna probably want him to be a little down from there. So I see that thing getting eventually probably stretched, and then from there he'll probably sign with Phoenix or something like that. That's what I see happening there with Patty, because I can't see them keeping him in OKC. That doesn't really make much sense at all. They got too many young shooters there that should be playing instead of Patty Mills. The same thing I said about the Houston Rockets acquiring him. It seemed to me that was just a misguided situation, picking him up just to begin with. I guess they changed their mind or what have you, and are sending him to the Thunder, and I'm pretty sure the Thunder are going to do the same thing in another deal. So that's what I think. Either that or the Thunder will stretch it themselves. So I just don't see them giving Patty a role. I mean, at the end of the day, they got too many guards to play, man, and they're not trying to necessarily win anything. And if they do, it's probably on the back of those young players that they have there, which are all guards except for Chet. And so that's what I'm looking at. Maybe they can upgrade their power forward position. That's what I would do. Although I do like Jay Will. I don't know if he's my answer at power forward if I'm them. Maybe even get a center and let Chet play the 4. I think that's probably something they can do as well, not having playing the 5 fresh off injury. Probably not the move. So that's what I think OKC should be considering. I don't know if there's any candidates out there that they would be interested in. I don't know if they really want to do that at all. Maybe Jay Will is going to take a huge jump this year. He is a very good player. So I don't want that to be lost in the situation. Man, so that's what I think of the OKC Thunder there. Brooklyn, I'm curious to see what they're going to try to do. They want a star. I know they do. I don't think they have one, and I know they have more assets than they've had over the last couple of years from which to kind of create something for themselves. So flexibility is a bit more so in place than it was last year for the Brooklyn Nets. And I think that the idea that they're trying to get first round picks for several of their players tells me that they're finally getting on board with trying to acquire picks instead of giving them away. So it seems like they're starting to understand where they went wrong, as most of these teams will who are doing these type of things. You just got to run into it, bump your head, and realize, yo, I should not have done that. I should be trying to do what the Lakers are doing. And so that's kind of That's kind of what I expect over the next couple of years with some of these teams that are moving this way. But nevertheless, we're seeing teams do a little bit of something with these contracts. I'm very curious to see if the Golden State Warriors are serious about having Chris Paul play a real role at that price. I'm curious to see are they serious? Are they actually serious? When we know damn well his contract's supposed to be getting bought out, and you could probably get him at a fraction of that cost, like a very small fraction of that cost. I don't think it's misguided trying to have him play with those players. If you want to have him, be up there in Golden State, kind of facilitating and helping along, that doesn't hurt as a fit. But my God, at his price tag, you guys are serious? That I don't actually believe. Like, I really don't believe. I don't think they're up there making a mistake or being stupid. Nah, I think they're probably going to find a way to get that contract off of their books. Maybe before the season starts. Definitely before the halfway mark. He ain't going to be at that price for very long. The problem is, he doesn't play many games anymore, so you run the risk of him getting hurt on that contract, and you know damn well it's good for nothing but trading to be waived. Trading to be stretched, rather. That's all that contract is good for. So that's what you should be doing with it, Golden State. But I don't know. Now that Myers is out, I don't know that they really know what to do. I don't think they really got an understanding what to do. That's what I think. They're probably scrambling up there. They don't know what the hell they're doing. That's what it seems like to me when you bring in Chris Paul at that price, sending Jordan Poole, a young player, out on a bad contract, but you sent him out for something like this that you say is going to work on the basketball floor, and I'm really, really hoping that you're not serious. That's what I'm thinking in regards to Mike Dunleavy and the Golden State Warriors. I really, really hope they're not serious. Because if they are serious, and you really want Chris Paul at this stage in his career, after what we've just seen, to be on that price tag for your basketball team that needs to win now, if you think that makes any sense at all, you don't know what you're doing. That's all that tells. You have no idea what you're doing. He needs to be on a $5 million, $8 million contract. That's Chris Paul. I don't expect him to play 30 games. I'm only giving him that much because I respect his name. For what it is I expect for him to do, man, no. Hell no. Not anywhere sniffing that price tag, man. That's just as bad. No, it's a lot worse, actually, than Russell Westbrook at $47 million for the Lakers. It's a lot worse. Because at least I know Russell Westbrook's going to play 82 games. Chris Paul, I expect to play about 30 games, y'all. And he's coming off the bench. So maybe that keeps him healthy, in theory. And what do I expect him to do when he gets on the floor? Wiggins going to be still. He going to have to guard two people at once. That's the type of stuff that's going to be going on down there. Draymond going to be everywhere at once. It's not going to translate to what they think, and the chemistry is going to be funny because that's Chris Paul and that's Draymond and that's all. You know what I mean? They've battled for years. At that price, they're going to realize their teammates ain't going to be that good. Because he's on that price, Dre's on this price, Steph's contract, Clay's contract, Wiggins' contract. If I'm not mistaken, Gary Payton's been paid. Like, where's all the money? It's in these players that don't necessarily fit, that don't necessarily have a whole lot left. Steph Curry. I don't know if you noticed or not, bro, but I don't think you're on a win-now team. And I said this earlier. I tell people I don't think the Golden State Warriors going to be that good of a basketball team this year. When I look at the various teams that they're going to have to match up with, from team to team to team to team, they're not in the upper echelon of the Western Conference right now unless Steph Curry steps forward. Now, I could be wrong. Something to be said for continuity. Andrew Wiggins is a player I wasn't thinking about when we were having this conversation earlier. He's definitely not trash. But the majority of what they have on that roster, I don't expect a whole lot from outside of it. Steph Curry. Klay Thompson, do I expect him to have a big year? I don't know. He's been healthy for a couple years now. Do I expect him to stay healthy going forward? He has had his injury issues. They were major. Draymond Green is steady. Draymond Green, he had a good season last year. Probably have a good season this year, but $25 million, probably what he's worth. I don't know if I expect that he will be a great contract going forward when shot making is so damn important and he doesn't hit shots like that. That's the thing. I just think that the value for guys that can't shoot is becoming more and more at risk. I don't know if it's going to head that way or not, depending on what guys can do other things, but it just seems to me that this floor spreading rule is becoming ever so real. And if you don't have those floor spaces it could potentially make things really, really funny for you. Now, of course, they have that. That's Golden State we talking about. But if for some reason they don't, if for some reason one of these shooters go down, Steph Curry, how healthy you expect him to stay? They've let go of Poole. They let go of Baldwin. They brought in Podziemski. I like Podziemski. Pod can step forward, but how, he's limited as a player as well. Do you expect him to be Jordan Poole? He going to be himself. But these are questions that are going to have to be answered. And like I said, I really hate the idea that they let Baldwin go. That's a player I would have never let go. If Moses Moody steps forward, I feel great about him. Can you get the most out of him with all these forwards and all these guards? Is he going to fall into the fold or out of it? I'm going to be watching for Tracy Jackson Davis's development. You know what I mean? Looney's also in the fold. He's going to play every game. That's one of the best things you got for yourself is knowing he will be there. So, he's built different. I'm not worried about him. But it's like, man, I don't know, Golden State. You're one injury away from falling out of the playoffs just like you have been every year for the last several years. And we get on, we got to keep the same energy about these teams. If we going to get on Chicago, you know what I'm saying, for not being good enough, but we know they're good enough to make the playoffs, but can't win a championship. If we're going to get on some of these other teams that do that, I got to start looking over there in Oakland and San Francisco rather and say the same thing, because I'm not seeing a whole lot that makes me feel like they're actually going to be a real contender this year. And so that's what I'm telling people. They're always going to be a contender, but will they actually be able to push through the field with what it is they have versus what's out there? You look at all these teams, you tell me the truth if you really see that. If you really see that in an 82-game schedule with these guys being as old as they are, with all these players getting faster and stronger, I just don't think Golden State is in the space where they can legitimately tell me that they think they match up with all the field right now. They got to make some moves, man. I don't know if you trade some dudes to get a Pascal Siakam or something, but you have got to get a bit more modern around here. That's what I'm going to tell you. You got some old guys. Got to get a bit more modern around here. So that's what I'm going to say to the Golden State Warriors. I don't know how much I expect from Klay Thompson in this year, upcoming year. I just don't know. And so that's what it really comes down to. If he steps up and is back to all-star status, playing like old Klay, then it can overall boost everything. Wiggins, is he missed some of last year. Is he going to come in and have a good year? He's been really good. Is he still getting better? Am I not better for trading him since he's one of my best valuable pieces? I don't know. I don't think so because I need him defensively, I think, on the wing. But again, how much can I get for everything else? What am I getting for Kuminga? We haven't developed him properly. You keep on re-signing Draymond, but you won't move Kuminga to a spot that allow him to flourish. Send him to Washington too. Why is he not in Washington? That's what I have to ask the Golden State Warriors. Why Kuminga ain't in Washington? You know damn well you don't have a role for him. He should be somewhere like that. And so it's just like I don't think I like what I'm seeing from Mike Dunleavy Jr. out there, man. I don't think so. I'm not seeing it. It's not coming together, man. You got to trade Chris Paul and all of that. All of these contract can provide you for that value in players. That's what y'all need. You trade Chris Paul's albatross of a contract to somebody who just wants to stretch it, man, and get back some contracts to some players that are okay and try to get them up to a solid level and trade them to get back in the mix with some young players that actually fit around the core. You got to be doing what the Lakers are doing. We got Bron and AD, but we also got a fleet of young players. So it's like I like Podziemski, I like Tracy, I like some of them dudes, but others it's like, all right, you got rid of some good ones. You overpaid Jordan Poole. He should have never been overpaid. He should never have been gotten rid of either. Before the contract. He should still be on your books. He should be like on a Austin Reeves contract, $50 million, continuing to progress better. Why the hell did y'all pay him all that money, knowing damn well that y'all never had the role to really feature him in the first place or develop him in the first place? It was just, again, skipping steps because they had a great core that can win. It's like, nah, you skipping steps. That's why that core doesn't have the longevity it otherwise would have if you didn't do that. I feel the same way about Milwaukee. They ain't doing enough around Giannis, so Giannis can't stay above the fray because anytime he's out, his team ain't go good. It's like, yo, Step up, develop players. What's going on with Marshawn Beauchamp? What's going on with that point guard y'all got in the back of that bench, Milwaukee, that I mentioned? I can't think of his name right now, but he had a hell of a game at the end of the season. Is he going to develop? Are you going to give him a role? What's up? You know, is Grayson Allen going to step up and play a little better? Because I ain't like what I saw from him in the playoffs this year. What is up, Milwaukee? Some of y'all just living off of the fact y'all got superstar talent, but you ain't doing nothing with them. You got to get up out of there. Philly, what's up? You moving on from some of the contracts you shouldn't have anymore? What's up? What y'all gonna do with Tobias? Have you made a decision on Tyrese Maxey? Where's James Harden going, and what's the return on that? We're going to be studying this stuff because if I'm telling you, if we don't like what we see, we're going to be asking stars to get the hell out of these places and preserve their careers in better situations. Because Utah needs a star. San Antonio could use a running mate with Wembanyama. You know what I'm saying? Some of these teams, y'all ain't got to keep these guys y'all ain't doing nothing with. They don't have to sit there with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we screaming on this camera today. And the free agency, some of the stuff we've seen has been nonsense. Garbage, lazy thinking, trash. And, you know, I'm thankful I'm a Laker fan, as I said earlier, because we're doing things that I can respect. I don't expect our team's going to be the champion this year, not necessarily. It's not about this year. It's just about making sure our contracts look good so that next year our team can be solid. The year after that, our team can be solid. And we can have trade pieces that we can get ourselves whatever we want. That's all it's about. It's not that we're married to what we have. We just want to get our foundation of young players getting better so that when it's time for us to go after Wembanyama, we got the best trade package to bring him to us. That's all we're doing. Giannis, that's what we're doing. If people really want to know what it is that I've been asking the Lakers to do, it's to get enough stuff like that so we can do stuff like that. It ain't about just getting these guys and just being cool. With flexibility, hell no. Flexibility is a foundation from which great things can be built. That's when you go after your stars, because all of your young players on good contracts, all of the players that you got underneath them developing well, all growing. You ain't keeping no vets on the team, and if you do bring in a vet, he's key. And you can afford to let that piece be nothing because everything else is so damn valuable. Like that's why I don't mind a Taurean Prince type contract, because everything else we got is valuable. Everything else. And he's on a 1-year deal of $5 million. Like, this is how you do it. In 3 years from now, 4 years time, when LaMelo Ball wants to be a Laker, we can bring him to us. And whoever you want to play with, because we got all the valuable stuff and the foundation from which other stuff is becoming more valuable. So that's what it is, man. It's like a fruit in a garden. It's like gardening. You make sure everything is valuable, make sure everything is fruitful, so to speak, man. You don't have any problems. There's beauty everywhere. And so that's what it is. It's just like anything else you're trying to build. But a lot of these people want to skip steps. They don't want to have a foundation. And they don't have the ammo to do the things they want to do. They don't have the talent. It ain't there. And when they finally mortgage everything, when they finally get what they want, they can't do nothing with it. You know what I'm saying? Or they keep it for so long and they think, oh, we got to this level, and they forget about the garden. No, the garden needs to be kept up at all times, regardless if we're champions, tanking, the garden itself, the development of talent and everything being on upper value, that needs to be going on no matter what the hell phase we're in. You know what I'm saying? And if the owners don't understand this garden theory or methods that I'm talking about, they need to learn it, man. But it's the only way you're going to flourish in this league is if you had that mentality. You keep throwing away all the stuff that's going to get better, you're never going to have enough to keep better in place. The superstar leaves you, what happens? Okay, go get another one. Why? Because everything else is valuable, growing, getting better. Guy goes with an injury, falls off the map. Damn, that sucks, but guess what? Everything else is going well, better. So I can trade away stuff, can afford for him to have a Lonzo Ball contract situation because everything is getting better. See what I'm saying? But if you're afraid to reset, how the hell are you going to start your garden? You're going to suffer those situations. That's what you're going to do. You do stuff like the New York Knicks giving away Obi Toppin for 2 picks. If you don't turn those picks into anything, because maybe you turn those picks into something and voila, we feel like we're good. But picks in 2025 don't necessarily do much when I got a guy like Obi Toppin getting better. And I can just wait 5 more minutes, let him play the first start of the season, trade him again. Trade him to the same place I did for actually a first-round pick now. And look, this is a problem I have with New York situation. Y'all know Julius is dealing with the ankle. Y'all sure he's going to start the season? You just gave away his best backup. Now, granted, I like Sims, but is he developing properly? He's been playing behind those guys. Is that what you opened this up for, or did you have another idea in mind? You just trade him away because you know Thibodeau ain't never gonna play him. How about you just fire Thibodeau? If he's the reason why the garden ain't growing and you ain't going to the championship, then he the reason you gotta go. He's the thing that needs to go. Your players ain't getting better around him. Grimes ain't developing quickly, ain't turning into a star, all this other stuff. Get that coach out of here. What the hell are we doing? And he won't play the top 5 guys 40 minutes a game and nobody else, man. Get him out of here. I mean, these type of things that I'm like, yo, New York, stop playing. Your garden, it's not growing. It's not. You got Julius eating up all his cap. You got Fournier. We knew that Fournier contract was bad when you signed it. Man, no reason for that to even still be there. That should have been stretched, gone, long gone. I don't know what y'all doing with that. I like the McBride kid. Are you doing anything with him? If not, 2nd round pick. 2 2nd-round picks, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to develop him, get him out of here. Grimes, 2 2nd-round picks, baby. You know what I'm saying? Enough. Because if you don't want to develop talent, you can find a place that wants to. You can find teams that need to. The Washingtons of the world, they want your young talent. Utahs of the world, they want your young talent. You know what I'm saying? So, it seems like Atlanta's trying to build up young prospects as well, taking on Tata and Gruber. Hopefully they're starting to understand that depth is key, not only to having a good team, but being able to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? Since they gave away everything for DeJounte, which is cool because you can get it all back for DeJounte. He's a tradable asset, which is why it's not the worst thing in the world. Giving away picks for him, you could probably get those picks back for him if you trade him soon enough. He ain't lost no value. In fact, he's gained it. So I'm not mad at Atlanta. Just keep bringing young talent to you and don't forget to showcase them. Don't let them wait 5 and 6 years to get on your Atlanta squad because at the end of the day, you don't have that type of cachet to make people want to wait around to develop in your uniform only to stay with you and play. You don't have the history for that. So it's like if I'm waiting around to play for it to be an Atlanta Hawk, why don't I just get the hell out of here and go to the Orlando Magic? You know what I'm saying? That's because that's what it ends up happening to the Hawks. Guys just start losing interest, it seems to me, from afar because they're not developing. And that's another reason why I'm a little frustrated that they get such a lead guard like Kobe Buffkin. Y'all the last team that need a lead guard. I would have loved for them to have gotten a Hawkins or Keontae George, somebody like that, or off guard, who maybe they can say, you know what, let me just replace Bogey with maybe, or something like that, something that slips in a bit better instead of saying, okay, we got somebody who's going to need to do the same thing DeJounte and Trey does. And even if we get rid of DeJounte, we still got somebody that does what he does. That Trey does. You know, it's like, come on, man. It's the same problem I see with Simons in Portland. Like, you're going to move Dame, but when is Simons going to get the ball while playing with Scoot? You still need to move him, too, so he can get in his situation and show what he can do. And so it's like you keep on giving these lead ball guards to each other, and they can't seem to make nothing out of it. And you want to put another lead guard behind them. It's like, yo, I get it. Lead guards are dope. We all like those players. But they can't play with one another, fam. So that's the problem. They're not necessarily interchangeable with one another, and they get frustrated because they do need to get their rhythm, they do need to get their touches, and they're sharing it with other people who do the same damn thing. So I know expansion is a big deal, but teams who have this problem, they're not doing these players no favors when they draft them to each other. Say the same thing about what's going on in Charlotte. Yes, we all love lead guards. Yes, Nick Smith is fantastic. Yes, Bouknight, fantastic. But LaMelo Ball just signed a contract for the max. These dudes ain't stepping up to be no lead guard. Even if they outplay him, they ain't going to get the ball. They waiting for him to get hurt. What kind of situation is that? Move those guys and let them get those opportunities, please. That's all I'm saying. But these players, they're not going to get those opportunities because these owners like these players a lot, and so do we. This is why we want them in situations that allow for them to do what it is they do. Instead of waiting for somebody to get hurt or maybe getting foul trouble or something, we see them for 5 minutes, but they're out of rhythm. Losing value, end up traded for less of what they were if they never develop because of you putting them on top of each other. It doesn't work. Send them to where they need to go so they can get those opportunities and take back what they're worth. Because you probably need something that is worth that much in another area that you don't even pay attention to. So, that is the truth. Anyway, that's what I got to say, man. I know I'm fussing and all of that. I'm not in a bad mood. I actually love what I'm doing. But this is something that we basically built our channel on. And we've been talking like this every offseason for the last 3 or 4 years if you follow me. This ain't new. We give them this energy every year when we see dumb stuff. And it always plays out exactly the way we think it is. And this is why I feel so confident and continue to speak this way. Because the only way you're actually going to develop your team properly and have the ammo you need to be able to get in these trade rooms and have the ability to get you a Dame Lillard Miami is if your garden's intact, fam. You know, especially if you're a Laker, Miami, New York, because guys gonna want to go to you. And when they try to, this is the crap they run into. It's like, how the hell is Dame Lillard gonna be able to retire in Miami like a gangster if y'all team ain't good enough to trade for him when it's time to? This is what we talking about. It's like he looking over there saying, man, I want to retire in Miami. I done did this in Portland. This situation ain't go right. Let me just retire in Miami. No, you can't go to Miami because Miami ain't got nothing worth a damn. They ain't been developing talent. Their garden is trash. Been living off Bam and Jimmy for the last 5 years. Ain't care about developing nothing. And all them players that they happen to find in low-cost areas are gone. They got a bag. They got the hell out of there. So now Dame is going to be playing with God knows what. Hopefully they find some more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, man, you can't go to Miami because Miami is a swamp. It ain't just a pretty Miami. It ain't what it was. It's not going to be that until they start doing things correctly. And so they didn't mortgage all their picks and stuff for Jimmy and all kinds of stuff like that. Man, come on. You don't want to go to Miami. You don't. You'd rather go to Orlando, like I said earlier. So, yeah, that's what I want to say, man. Get y'all stuff in order, you big markets. You mortgage all your picks. Get them back. Clippers, get something that has some value. Stop trying to go after old guys. Ain't going to be worth a damn. This is why. Because when so-and-so want to go to L.A., you know where they're going? You better know it. Why? Because we just have the better books right now. Just like y'all had back, 10 years ago when we were trying to get LaMarcus Aldridge and Carmelo Anthony, couldn't get nobody. Y'all were doing better. It's because you had young talent, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. That's why. This old man nonsense, Kawhi Leonard, know damn well his value ain't going nowhere. Not up. I'm talking about going for a championship. What is that worth for you? Your first championship will be great, but you won't be able to do nothing with it. You can't defend it. You won't have no young talent. You go back to the swamps after those guys retire. Why the hell do you even want that? Think about that. If James Harden retires, what happens? Paul George, Kawhi Leonard retires, what happens? You have no picks. You have no young talent. You didn't trade them when you could have to get it. So how the hell do you have it, Steve Ballmer? How? After this nonsense ends, you gonna throw more money at superstars? Where's the garden? This is why you get the Scoot Henderson. This is why you trade for Amen Thompson. This is why you do this now, so that when the building comes in, you have a garden in place with young talent growing. You know what I'm saying? But like, people don't understand this stuff. They want to do things the wrong way. They just want to throw money at certain things. Listen, and it's like, no, man. If you're not developing talent, you don't have this. And the only argument against what I'm saying is, if I get all these guys and they all pop, I got to pay them all 206. It's impossible. They have to go, which is why they're probably going for 2 picks left and right. Because if these guys really develop what they're supposed to, they can't be kept. The fan base fall in love with them, they have to leave anyway. So it's one of those situations where I get the get rid of them fast idea, just not for the 2 second-round picks idea. You can get better trades for these guys. And you can find better fits for them, too. And like I said, you probably have needs in other areas that worth would help you with if you just paid attention to that and traded it for that worth of what it is. Somebody got too many small forwards, but need a point guard. Somebody else has too many centers, but need a point guard. You can get all the stuff you don't have at the same age with the same upsides, just trade it interchangeably for each other. But you ain't thinking like that because you're too busy trying to get the vets. You run into walls and don't come to mind. It's like you ain't in a hole. You just need to know how to turn a swamp into a damn garden, and then from there, no hole. Video 44. Thank you all for watching. Out.